Hey everybody, it's Eddie J on crypto, and here is the day on crypto. Now, this is where I cover a whole bunch of stuff that I covered, in the crypto minute, and kind of take a deeper dive and share my thoughts and opinions on them. What's crazy is BitGo had wanted to purchase Prime Trust, citing I want to read this to you: insurmountable challenges. They have walked away from the deal. Apparently, it's a blow to both companies, but Prime Trust needed the help way more than BitGo needed to get in the business. So we're going to have to watch to see how that plays out. I don't think it's going to bode well for Prime Trust. Tesla. Now, is Doge going to see a pop off of this news? Because this is the first time this has happened. Tesla actually introduced a page, an FAQ page, frequently asked questions, dedicated to answering questions about how you can use Doge on their site. Now you've been able to purchase things on their site for a while now, but now it was kind of slid in there. You can click this and do that and all that good stuff. But now it's a little bit more official, having its own page dedicated to this is what you cannot do, all that good stuff. So it kind of hints at something that could come, but doesn't at the same time, kind of. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But it could be a nice little bump for Doge. I don't know how much of a bump, but it could wind up being a little bump for Doge. Now, the biggest thing that I want to talk about, well, not the biggest, but one of the big things I want to talk about is Polygon. Polygon is sitting back and they're saying, listen, we don't just want to scale. We want to have unlimited scalability and unified liquidity. And we want to bring that to all of the internet. We're going to call it the value layer. And I'm sitting back and I'm going, that's pretty bold. But then you think about how they're using zkEVM to actually scale, and you sit there and you go, oh, wait a minute, that actually could work. I mean, after all, you get enough validators, and you could actually wind up doing some damage in terms of, really blowing out and growing the space. So that's something I'm looking forward to because, like I said, we have a platform. We're already involved with Polygon and other coins to actually accept crypto payments via our hosting platform. And looking at Polygon's plans, I'm sitting there and I'm going, that's really, really good. It's beyond interesting. And one of the things that I look for when I'm doing my investing and when what I teach my kids is, it's the big hopes and dreams that you see off in the future and everything, but it's the reality behind them that I'm looking for. I'm looking for the realistic steps toward achieving a lofty goal. So even though Polygon Labs is, looking at this big lofty goal, they have actually set out and have taken significant steps to achieve that goal. Now you know why I'm so big on Polygon. Just saying. No, they do not pay me. I'm just a happy little investor, and I mean little. Now, looking at Binance.us, they had a problem. Remember that you couldn't actually withdraw, U.S. fiat, which is the U.S. dollar. Well, they fixed that problem, but they fully expect their banking partners to pull out again, citing, well, of course, the SEC lawsuit against them. Not going to get around that. Just not going to get around that right now. But what they are saying is, well, if more people start adopting stable coins, which the SEC is affecting USD fiat withdrawals, but if people actually adopt stable coins, that's going to be a very big deal. So we should be paying attention to that, because right now the lawsuit is having the effect the SEC wants, having damage be done to the actual exchange. However, if people adopt it in the long term, in the long run, it could wind up being exactly what the SEC did not want. And that's the further adoption of crypto. So I'm definitely going to be paying attention to that. And yes, I do believe that you should be, leveraging stable coins because they're pegged to whatever fiat you happen to be using. Right. So if you're looking at, doing something with US dollar, you could be using, Circle, USDC. There are others, Tether even. But this is what I'm talking about. If you force people into a corner, there might be another way out, and stablecoins could be that way out. Speaking about stablecoins, you also have MUFG, which is Japan's largest bank. What are they doing? Well, Japan passed a law that kicked off in June 1st, that says if you are a bank, other kinds of specific firms that are already licensed, you can be a stablecoin issuer. So they are in talks with several different entities to become exactly that. Now, what do I see? I see that other banks in Japan will wind up doing the same thing because MUFG made their move, and I would fully expect other hubs around the world and banks around the world to do the same. And why? Because Japan is actually a major financial hub. And they also do things in crypto. You might want to pay attention. Just saying. So that could actually, again, drive crypto adoption. What else are we looking at? BlackRock was at a conference. The conference was hosted by Coinbase. I'm trying to look up to see what the name of the conference was. Bear with me. Should be here. Yeah. Joseph Shalom, head of strategic markets for BlackRock, was speaking at the Coinbase Global Inc. State of Crypto Summit. And he said that institutional adoption of DeFi is a long way off. I can agree to that. I can definitely see that. However, companies like Coinbase, who have institutional grade wallets, are going to play a major role in that space. And I sit there and I kind of go, yeah, I can see that too. They're already in bed with Coinbase. Coinbase is their preferred partner, period, hands down. So when I look at what BlackRock is saying, they're saying, listen, institutional investment, in a major fashion, in that billion trillion fashion, they're saying that's going to be a long way off with regard to DeFi. However, I think that could actually wind up gaining speed as you see more tests. If you look at my videos previously, I told you about how DBS, along with a couple other entities, actually tested a decentralized transaction. That's your first step to DeFi, being able to be adopted by institutions. So yeah, it's a long way off because that was just a test. That was way long ago this year. However, it does demonstrate the capabilities of DeFi in the space. So that to me, kind of a big deal, right? That's what I'm looking at. Just scrolling through my notes. I'm sorry. There's just a lot going on. The IMF, I think, and their Stitch. I think the IMF is kind of admitting defeat when it comes to crypto, right? I think they're admitting defeat, and they're saying that long-term banning of crypto just is not a thing. They're saying it's ineffective. Yeah, it's ineffective. It's not going to happen. It can't happen. I don't see how it could happen. So what they're saying is, yes, we're seeing growing interest in CBDCs, right? Central bank digital currencies. But they're also seeing that, yeah, we're not going to be able to stop crypto. So there's got to be that kind of balance or something. We're going to have to wake up to that reality. To me, that's admitting defeat. That really is admitting defeat. So I find it interesting when I look at all these things that are going on. What I'm seeing is a much broader reach, a much broader adoption of crypto. It's happening in chunks, but as you can see, it's been happening in larger and larger chunks over time, right? BlackRock's move over the past week and a half, Fidelity's move over the past week and a half, all these other companies trying to launch spot Bitcoin ETFs, big moves, really big moves. Anyway, you know what we should do? We should go over the numbers. So let me see if I can bring that up for you. And while I'm doing that, let's hit the refresh button on this. All right, let's just make this a little bit bigger so we can see it. And who's down? Not a lot is actually down. So we stop right about there. And there's nothing in this space. ApeCoin being down 7% after being up yesterday is something I'm paying attention to. Because that's a big move. Flow was up. It's down 10% and it was up as well. That's very interesting. That's a big move Going from positive to negative, that's a big, big, big move. Because that's for flow, that's a double digit drop, right? So I find that to be very interesting. Let's see who over here. So we can go all the way down the list and we stop right about here. So Bitcoin Cash, okay, great, up 7%. Constellation is up 8%. Not something I own. VeChain is up 10%. Something I do own. I love VeChain. Pepe is up 5%. Again, just pay attention to my 5% rule. I would be paying attention to both Chainlink and Monero, only because they have a lot to do. Chainlink is something I actually love. Monero only because of everything that it touches. Filecoin, kind of holding steady. That's interesting. But whatever, right? Oh man, I didn't have everything else opened up. Ugh. So the video could mess up at this point. Let's see what happens. Keep going.